Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the Elementalist with the Elemental Synergist subclass in Baldur's Gate 3. So this is a modded class made by Avyre, and what's cool about the Synergists is they're a half caster, although at level 12 you do get level 5 spells, so they're almost a full caster. And in addition to this, they can blast enemies with spells and weave in different types of melee attacks. So this is a fun one. I'll be showing you how to make the most out of this. So you do get the action here, bind weapon, which will make it so you use intelligence for the attack rolls. It doesn't really say it here, but that's the effect that you get. So you can effectively actually use things like a quarterstaff as your weapon. So that's pretty cool. In addition, we get to choose cantrips. I think that Ray of Frost, Bone Chill, and Firebolt are our best bang for our buck here. And for spells at level 1, I think it's good to go with Thunderwave. If you can actually push someone off a cliff, this is useful. Shield for survivability, and Magic Missile for guaranteed damage. We get to choose a class passive with a different damage type, or a different fighting style. So you can go with the defense to increase your armor class by 1. Dueling's nice for adding 2 damage to your attacks if you got a shield, but I think that +1 armor class just works best. And for our second class passive, we can actually use the Elemental Attunement to ignore resistances to a different damage type, and it makes it so you can't roll a 1 with that damage. Now, the two most common resisted damage types are fire and poison damage, but we don't get a lot of poison spells, so I actually think that going with the Elemental Attunement Fire is the best choice here. So that's what we're going to go with. And for our ability scores, 16 Dex, 14 Constitution, and 16 Intelligence with 10 Wisdom and Charisma for saves, I think works absolutely best. Now, strength doesn't matter as much because we got our bind weapon so that we can use intelligence for our rolls. I'll be showing you what the best gear to go with for this class is. We can use weapons like a sword or something like that, but I like using a staff for boosting our spell casting, and you can still bonk them with your staff. At level 2, we get ourselves the Insightful Cantrips, which deals additional damage on our cantrips equal to our intelligence modifier. We also get the Potent Cantrips, which makes them harder to evade, so when a creature succeeds a saving throw against your cantrips, it takes half the cantrip's damage but suffers no extra effects. And we get the Spark Step, which uses an elemental spark to give us 3 meters of movement speed, and this is nice because this doesn't take an action or bonus action, so we can, if we need to get in closer, we can. We get to choose another cantrip, and I think Shocking Grasp or Sacred Flame are 2 good ones, and we get to take 2 more spells. Now, I don't really like taking Searing Smite or Thunderous Smite or any of the bonus action attacks because we actually get some very powerful spells that use our bonus action later on. So we're going to save those for later. I think that this makes Create or Destroy Water a very good choice because this doubles lightning and cold damage. Very useful. And Ice Knife can be nice if we get silenced anytime we want to still cast a spell. Hex can be nice too, or even Armor of Agathis, but I'm going to go with Ice Knife here as enjoyer of cold damage. Once you make our way to level 3 here, we get ourselves the Synergetic Cantrips. When you deal damage to a cantrip, you get Arcane Synergy for 2 turns. And whenever you deal damage with a spell or cantrip, it infuses your weapon to deal additional 1d4 of that damage type on your next melee attack. We also got ourselves the Spark Infusion, so you can infuse an Elemental Spark with an element of your choice to coat your weapon with. It'll do additional damage, and this can get a little bit higher in damage, which I'll show off. But we get level 2 spells. Hold Person is a definite take, and then also Misty Step. What's nice about Hold Person is we can actually get critical hits off at close range, which is perfect for a synergist like this class. Now, once we make it to level 4, Silence is also not a bad spell to stop targets from casting at you, and Scorching Ray because it's got good damage, and we're going to take our intelligence up to 18. And once we get to level 5 here, we get ourselves the Flickering Embers, so you regain all your elemental spark charges after a long or short rest. Warcaster Strike, after casting a spell or cantrip, take advantage of the enemy's distraction and strike with your main hand. So this effectively allows us to cast a spell and then attack, and whenever we hit a creature with a weapon attack, it has disadvantage on its next saving throw against the spell you cast before the ending of your next turn. So you can spell cast, attack, and then next turn hold person as your spell, and they'll have disadvantage on the saving throw. And then you go in and attack them. It's crazy. Pretty good synergy, and that's why it's called the Synergist. Now, for a next level spell, Moonbeam can be cool if you're going with something like if you're doing if you want to have Sanctuary on yourself, you can go with that. Branding Smite's not terrible if there's invisible targets that you need to keep visible, and typically around level 5 you'll be encountering those. And Knock is actually another really useful spell if you get to the Shard Temple and don't want to deal with it. So you can take Knock, but also you can go in Melf's Acid Arrow too, and you can replace spells at any time. So if you want to take Knock and then remove it later, you can. At level 6, the improved Elemental Infusion. So until the end of your next turn, you deal an additional 2d6 of element choice on a successful weapon attack and a +1 bonus to attack So that's pretty good, because after a spell, we can hit pretty hard with our attacks. And your ranged weapon attacks can be made as melee attacks if you use the Daredevil proximity, similar to the Daredevil gloves. And then close quarter spell casting. So we get a +2 bonus to melee spell attacks and spell save DC. Pretty nice if you ask me. And for our next level spell, we get some good choices. Hunger of Hadar, Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Sleet Storm. Also Lightning Arrow can be good. Spirit Guardians, Haste. So I think the best two is just go with these two, Fireball and Lightning Bolt, because they cover a wide variety of ranges. And then at next level, we can take some more. So at level 7, we get the Adroit Spellcaster. So we can target 2 targets with our cantrips, once per battle. Pretty nice. Haste is a really good choice too, and then Spirit Guardians. This just gives us a lot of utility, and then Hunger of Hadar can be another great choice if you want something like that. But we can always take that next level. Spell class, we get a nice subclass feature here with 12 temporary health when we cast a spell in melee range, so adding even further survivability to our character. And then at this level, we'll take our Hunger of Hadar, and even Animate Dead can be pretty nice, or Call Lightning if you want to use no concentrations, but Counterspell is extremely useful too. So ability score improvement on our intelligence is probably the best way to go to further increase our weapon attack rolls and spell casting. And then we get ourselves at level 9 3 of these unique bonus action spells. So Acidic Blackness, this is like an acid version of Hunger of Hadar. Using 4 elemental sparks, acid shot. I covered these before in a previous video, but there's some pretty cool ones here. I like the Hellfire Orb as a bonus action. Fireball that's 3d8 fire damage, and it leaves behind Hellfire in an area. Lash of Fire is like Scorching Ray. Hellfire Blast is like the weapon action that you get with the Hellfire Great Axe. Frigid Blast is pretty nice. I like the Icicle Blast, which hurl 2 bursts of glistening ice that shatter upon hitting targets, create ice surfaces. But also the Frigid Strike can be really nice too, possibly chilling targets. And the Shocking Strike can be nice too. I'm going to go with this here because we can actually, these are counted as cantrips, and we can actually do some pretty cool stuff with them. Booming Quake does thunder and force damage in an area of effect. Sonic Boom can push back, and it's got thunder and force damage. It's really nice because it's like Thunder Wave, but additional damage, and can knock people off ledges, which is huge. Freezing Death's also nice to apply Bone Shield and does cold and necrotic damage. These spells are all really cool. Piercing Miasma. If there's one you prefer better, you can go with those, but I think this covers a wide range. We got a melee attack, a close range attack, and then a long range attack that hits an area of effect. These are really fun to mess around with. I had a lot of fun with this class. At level 10, we get ourselves the Master Infusement, so we get a 2d6 plus 4 of the infused element, and it's no longer a reset on a successful hit. It provides a 1d4 bonus to attack rolls, so whenever we do a spell, we get ourselves a big buff. It's really nice. Now, I think Conjure Minor Elementals and Ice Storm are the best choices we can get for level 10 spells to just open things up even further. We get Setup Strike here, which is a 2d8 force damage, and provides access to Warcaster Strike, which causes an explosion that debuffs enemies. Infuse your weapon with force damage. And we also get to choose an immunity piercing. So this depends heavily on what type of damage type you're going to encounter often. Cold immunity and resistance and lightning immunity and resistance are tough because if you apply water, it'll ignore those resistances. So you can go with like a thunder or radiant. There's no force, which is interesting, but force is only really resisted by Gortash. So it's up to you. Poison can be a good one. I'm gonna go with cold though, because we're gonna be mostly using cold for our damaging spells. And at level 12, furthermore to the cold, we got ourselves Cone of Cold. So pretty good. But we also get ourselves the Synergetic Cataclysm, which is a 1d6 of all damage types. So we can either do just 8 damage, or I can do up to 48. It's pretty cool, and you can make a Cataclysmic weapon attack as a follow-up. For our 2 spells, I think it's best to go Conjure Elemental and Cone of Cold. You can get Banishing Smite, but this does use your bonus action and a level 5 spell. But I think Cone of Cold and Conjure Elemental just give us the biggest bang for our buck. And we can go with the Alert for the +5 to initiative and Cannot Be Surprised feat. That's just useful for a variety of reasons. Now, what we're going to end up working with for our gear is we're going to want to have specific pieces. Now, there's a few that work really, really good. Like a Cloak Protection, Evasive Shoes, and the Ring of Protection for increased armor class put us at 24. But also the Gloves of Belligerent Skies. If we deal Thunder, Radiant, or Lightning damage, we can stack 2 turns of Reverberation. However, the Helldust Gloves also work really well here, getting fire damage on our melee attacks and increased spell save DC and spell attack rolls. So it's, again, entirely your choice there. Those would probably be the 2 best gloves that you could go with. And the Hood of the Weave will give you plus to your spell save DC and spell attack rolls. So you can go with a lineup like this. And for our armor, You can, if you want, go to and use it like the Helldusk armor here, because this will give you the heavy armor proficiency, so that can be an option for you. You can also just go with any type of, I guess, even the ballast armor can be pretty nice. You can't use medium armor, or you can use medium armor, I guess. So you could go that route as well if you wanted to, because medium armor will give you this 27 armor class, which is pretty solid overall. And Hellrunner Longbow for the +3 to initiative. I'm using Marka Heshker because this is pretty good. It'll give you the Kreska's Favor, which gives you some free casting of spells. And it's the only way that you can access Chain Lightning with this build. So that is pretty good too. So I'll show off what we can do with this in just a second here. But first things first, you want to swap off and use a spell Staff of Spell Power if you got it, because what you can do with, I got this bound weapon. What you can do with it is whenever you use this, you can get a free casting of spell. So using the Arcane Battery, we can summon in a Conjure Elemental. Unfortunately, we can only get level 3 or level 5 spells, so we don't get the level 6 version of this. But a Water Elemental is really nice, so we can pop that in and then go back to ours. And then we can use our, we only have 2 level 4 spell slots, so you can use one of those for the ice methods here, or you can also apply, you can also go with one of your free casts. For some reason that was free. I think their mod caused an issue with that, but you don't have to summon them in. And what we want to do when we get into combat, if you know you're getting yourself into a combat encounter, you can start off with just casting Create or Destroy Water, which will apply vulnerability to cold damage on everyone. To get the maximum amount of damage, this is the best way to do it. So you start out with Create Water, and then on the what we'll do is we'll just wait for our next turn so we get our 2 actions. I applied haste to my character to further show off the damage that this class can do. And then we're going to start off with a Cone of Cold because the wet status has been applied to them. You can see we were hitting for 92, 84, 84, 56. Pretty big numbers, and we created an ice surface there so they can stumble around on that. Now we get to choose another spell here, and I like Lightning Bolt because what we're going to do is I guess we can move and cast it. Lining up your Lightning Bolts is important because sometimes you can hit multiple targets. Like here we got 3 targets and we got counterspelled. Of course we did. The unfortunate part with counterspell is that takes away our melee attack as well. So now we just have the bonus action spell. So we got like a Frigid Strike here, which was pretty nice. You can also use the Adroit Caster here to attack 2 targets with it. So boom, 38, we hit them with that. That was pretty strong. And then we also got, I guess, the Spark Infusion we could have used too, and the Warcaster Strike. So after we do a cast a spell or a cantrip, we can follow up with another attack. So there we got our free attack, and that took them to 26, 17, and 5. Pretty good. So that's why I like the Helldusk gloves. They give us a nice boost. And I forgot to use Kreska's Favor, but that's another thing that you can do to set up, because this will give us that Chain Lightning or another Cone of Cold, since we only get a few spells. All right, we can use Shield here to protect ourselves. Shield is nice, especially for situations like that where you can get some easy blocks off. So now we got our full turn here, and we can actually get to blasting with some serious attacks. So they're not really grouped up in a great area, so there's no like, I guess we can hit 3 of them with a fireball. It's not a bad choice. So we can go start off with that, get our counter spell off. That's fine. I expected something like that to happen. I guess you could alternatively, we would proc opportunity attacks by moving, but we could get Lightning Bolt off. That would have been 4 piece right there. But that set up and took out the fire. Nice. Took out the fire Myrmidon. So then we can follow this up with another one of our elemental spark attacks. And we also get ourselves the Warcaster Strike. So we can start off by just, I guess, hitting this target here. And hope, yeah, we got ourselves the critical hit off. Perfect. I moved out of range for whatever reason. That's fine. And now we get ourselves the bonus action attacks. Sonic Boom can be pretty fun because you can just knock someone right off of the ledge with this if you get into a good position. Since I accidentally attacked them, I will use this to hopefully Sonic Boom them. Yep, perfect. That would have taken them out anyways because we got that triggered. But yeah, it's pretty nice. And then if you need to move around, you can also with that. And we'll also apply extra damage to our weapon here. So we'll apply Cold with the Spark here, Warcaster Strike. And just get into another position there. So we also got a free cast with the Illithid ability, which can be pretty nice. So you can also use that. Hit him with a Sonic Overload. Illithid abilities are really strong on this, like most builds, so I recommend them, but may not be for you in your playthrough. And our Myrmidon here is pretty effective. It can also, with Slam, will apply chilled to the target, which can make them vulnerable to the cold damage. So we'll be dealing double there, which is quite nice. And we want to get as many targets in as close as possible because we get that Daredevil giving us the plus 12 health every time that we attack. And in addition to that, we can also make it so we have advantage on our attack rolls. And anytime we do a melee spell attack, we get a plus 2 to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, which is quite nice. And we'll see here if we get hit with the counter spell, but we got 3 of them in a lightning blast. We do have to upcast it, so you could also use your free cast and do a lightning bolt, and then you can make sure that it's a level 5 one for extra damage. So hopefully take out multiple enemies. Perfect. That did it there. We took out 2 of them. And then we also get ourselves this nice Warcaster Strike again, so we can get up, deal a little extra lightning damage with that. Boom, that hits quite hard. And then we got ourselves another spell and a bonus action spell too. So you can, I guess, for range, you got yourself the Scorch and Ray, which will hopefully take them out. Perfect. And then we got ourselves a bonus action spell to finish off. So I guess we could go with the setup strike too, so we can forcefully mark a target with that. Knocks them off balance. And whenever this is applied, you get the providing access to Warcaster Strike and causing explosion that debuffs enemies. So the Warcaster Strike, which we used last turn, but you can normally just use that as a bonus action if you use your spell on something if you use your action on something else. This is the final target, so they're going to be pretty easy to take out. Boom. I guess they still have a bit of health here. We have the ice surfaces set up. We'll just let them attack us. That's fine. And I'll show you another skillful way to deal with them. So Kreska's Favor, super useful. Bolts of Doom applies to yourself, and you get the lightning enhancing your weapon. So now our weapon looks pretty crazy because it has lightning and cold on it. That looks pretty nice. And then we get Chain Lightning, so we can blast with a 99% chance Chain Lightning. That would have chained anyone else nearby. But that is a pretty strong elemental synergist from the elemental class made by Avyre. Let me know your favorite thing about this build. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video.